Perfect. Let's go. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the weekly Monday Motivation Podcast, No More Excuses. I am your host, Sandi Ballard, the super badass business coach, because I help people realize their badassness so they can do more, be more, and achieve more. And you probably see another face here, and it's Lee Bridges, and he is in the UK. So this is a really fun and cool time to have him on there. And again, thank you everybody for listening and for sharing, because as I mentioned last week, we hit another world record of over 5,000 downloads. And so I want to just keep going up, and I really appreciate it. It's because of all of you that I keep doing this. And this is week 233. So Lee, you're 233.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And you also said the word badassness.
Yes.
I've never heard that.
You haven't?
That was eloquent. Yeah, I love that.
I also like the word funtivities. So
funtivities, badassness, funtivities. I like
right.
That. That's awesome, though. Thank you so much for having me on. My
You're
pleasure.
welcome. I appreciate you being here. And last week, as I had mentioned before we turned on the recording, last week's podcast was about being productive and not just busy, because busy means you're flitting around like a butterfly doing a lot of nothing. And Lee's book is called Do Shit, Get Shit Done. And I wrote this down. The subtitle is Your BS Guide to Making Your Life Your Bitch and Winning Every Day. Is that right? Did I say that right?
Just about says your no BS guide.
Your no BS guide.
I wouldn't want it to be your BS guide. That would be worrying for me and for everybody else.
That's right. That's right. So I thought it was just timely to have that, because last week I talked about it's time to start getting shit done because of COVID. Been a little soft on you guys, your listeners, not you, Lee. And it's time to just step into it and lean into it, despite everything that's going on. And as things are starting to open, we've got to make the rest of the year just badass, right? We've got to do whatever we can. So, all right, Lee, tell me, where do you feel like people fall short in this category?
Okay, so a good question. First of all, thank you so much for having me on. I really, really do appreciate it. And thank you to your listeners for listening in. What an awesome podcast you've got. Where do people fall short? So honestly, I think it's the thing for me is that I'd rather run at something and get it horrendously wrong and just screw up massively than not do anything at all. And I've had this thing since I was a kid where I there's something about screwing up that I quite like. You know what I mean? Not on like a macro level of like, I've accidentally chopped my leg off, or I don't know, something really bad. But the idea of just getting on with it, because I live by this fairly meager kind of analogy of doing something terribly is 100% better than doing nothing at all. Mm-hmm. But it kind of works, and it just means that whether it's something really, really small, like I want to ask that person on a date, or I want to learn how to do ballet, or something new, I want to go to a new class or something like that, or something really, really big, like oh man, I need a divorce, or I want to start a new business, or I want to something that's huge in your life. It's you either simmer on it for a long time and think mm-hmm. about it, and nothing happens, well, if anything, it makes it worse and right. It just exacerbates the problem, or you just go at it and then you're at the start of that journey. And I think there's so many times when I've thought about something, and I don't get me wrong, thinking about stuff is really important, but I've thought about stuff too long, and then it's got to the point where if I'd have been really honest with myself, I'd have known that I was going to do it anyway, and I've just prolonged it, and it's taken a bit of extra time, and then a month goes past, 2 months goes past, and then I finally do the thing that I knew I was going to do in the first place, and I'm just like, oh my god, man, why didn't I just do that? So I think where people fall short, to answer your question exceptionally long-windedly, is I think it's that sort of self-confidence of just going, screw it, I'm doing it anyway. I'm just going to do it anyway, and having that kind of that making it almost black and white, where it's like there's no middle ground. I'm either going to do this or I'm not going to do it. I'm probably going to do it terribly because it's my first time doing it, and everything's your first time doing it, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think it's just that thing where it's a bit of ego. It's a bit of people thinking that they need to act a certain way for a certain reason because someone else might think this about them, or they think that someone else might think this about them. or it's something that just sort of you stop yourself in your tracks, you know, or you hear something that makes you think, right, I've got to do this a certain way. But actually, I just think if you can get that mentality of just being like, I'm just going to go for it, I'm just going to do it, it's going to be terrible, which is obviously what it's going to be, because that's what it is to start with, you know. But then the second time I do it, it's going to be that bit better, and the third time I do it, it's going to be that bit better. It's like you know, losing weight or trying to shave off a bit of time when you're running track or something, or you know, whatever it is. What do you think? Where do you think people fall short?
I totally agree, because that's that biggest thing, is that waiting to see, have somebody else do it first and see, you know. And that's the thing, is even when I started these podcasts, it probably took a year for one of my great friends and colleagues. She called and she goes, she goes, I just binged your podcast and I think you finally
Love that.
got settled in. And that's the thing, is my podcast coach, Jen Eads, she's got me started, and she hates everything about the fact that, you know, at first hated it because I don't have I just have these, you know, whatever headphones. I don't have a microphone. I'm talking at my computer. Usually if I'm not doing an interview, I'm just in my closet, because she's like, at least get in the closet. But yeah, I just do it. And like we were talking, I just usually hit record, and if I screw it up along the way, you know, it is what it is, and you just learn to slow down, learn to do it. But yeah, the biggest thing is just not taking the chances and not learning ways to stay focused.
100%.
Yeah. So I'm gonna, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to say, someone said to me once, and it just always stuck with me, and I can't remember who it was. I can't remember if it was a friend or I heard it on a podcast or on a book or something like that. But someone said they were like, you know, while you're trying to make your perfect phone, and you've got all your people working on it, and it's like, you know, everything's perfect, Apple are selling you a broken phone that you have to update constantly. And that always stuck with me. Do you know what I mean? And it's just that idea of just get it out there and figure it out afterwards, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm one to, yes, there's hesitation, and I'm a recovering perfectionist, but I will be the first to raise my hand to do anything. I years ago signed up for the first Women's Habitat for Humanity build.
That's
and
cool.
Yeah, it was really neat. Gathered my bitches, got my team, got my tribe, and we went in, and they're like, who wants to get on the roof? And my hand went up.
Nice. I love
and
that.
everybody was like looking around. I'm like, hell yeah. Do I get one of those like air gun nails? And they were like, no, now you're frightening us. So, like you said, you
never ask for the nail gun straight away. You have to work that in.
Oh, I needed to ease into that one. So,
yeah. So they say.
Like, yeah, it is. And it's so scary. I coach a lot of people, especially introverts, who are just, it's like that perfectionism trap, that, okay, looking around to see who else has done it. How can I, and that's great. Like you were saying with the phone, you improve it, but you got to get it out there. You got to just
100%.
take that step, and it's scary as hell. And, but you got to do it, right? You got to do it. What else are you going to do?
What else are you going to do? Yeah,
right,
exactly that.
Sit there and then live a life of regret. So, okay, I'm going to read a couple of sentences from your book.
Oh, geez. Okay.
And I love it because you drop the F-bomb like it's
right. So can I just load this slightly? Is I didn't realize until I put this book out how much I swear in it, because I don't swear that much in real life. Okay. So and a few people started telling me about it, and I was like, oh no, it's fine. And it is really sweary, so I do apologize. You can cancel those out for.
And I've edited myself down. I'm rebranding and doing a new website, and I was just like that, just kind of brain dumping. And my friend, the one who said I was doing better on that, was reading it. And she's a writer and a PR executive. And she goes, okay, first off, if you're going to use that many F-bombs, be consistent. And I go, yeah, I don't really need 3 and 2 sentences. So okay. All right. So, all right. This is from on page 11. I just printed out the ones. So it says, this is you speaking, I'm going to teach you how to be so fucking awesome that your kids, family, friends, peers, and acquaintances will follow. That's awesome.
That is one of mine. Thank you.
And then I'm going to show you how to feel pumped, gassed, and positive 24/7, 365. You need change, a fresh start. So no more excuses, which is the title of this podcast. And so no more excuses and self-deception, no more playing the victim and pointing the finger, because how many, there are 3 pointing back at you people
3.
who don't understand what that means. So, and stop pointing the finger. You, my friend, can be fucking awesome. So I love that, because then the next part goes into why should you trust me? Because I say this, there's what, Tony Robbins, I mean, you name it. There's all these amazing gurus out there, other motivational, as you say, other motivational self-help people out there. So why like, yeah, I left that one out. But it's a matter of, you know, so why should people listen to you? Why should people listen to people like me who aren't famous in their eyes? And why should people get your book?
Oh, is that a question? Sorry, I thought you were being rhetorical.
No.
Honestly, so I point this out as soon as I can in one of the first pages. I'm definitely 100% not a guru. I'm not better or worse than anybody else. I'm a Lee, and that's what I do. And my story is as interesting as anybody else's. And I've made so many mistakes in my life, and the book's about me sharing them and just saying, look, I can probably save you time on this, and this. There's no golden bullet that means that, you know, by reading the book you're going to be an instant millionaire, or you're going to have a 6-pack abs, or you're going to this or this. However, the basis of it, the idea is that all of the ideas in it are super simple, really easy to implement little life changes. So not diets, not fads, but like life changes. But they're not big and scary. They're not sort of like, right, I want to lose some weight, so I'm going to join the gym, I'm going to cut 1,000 calories out of my diet, I'm going to, you know, because that's mental. And as soon as you do that, and you hear people do it all the time, as soon as you do that, you know that you're not going to keep it up, because you're going to go to the gym the next day. You know, I'm going to do 100 squats and 100 push-ups, and you do that, and then your body hates you, your brain hates you even more. You ain't never going back to the gym. So, so the idea is the book is it's a mixture of all my screw-ups, and then tiny little. The way I always put it is it's kind of like it's kind of soppy way to put it, but we'll go with soppy. It's kind of like the snowflake that lands on your hand and just melts. And it doesn't really do anything. But a couple of snowflakes, a few snowflakes can turn into a snowball. A snowball and a bunch of those and a shit ton of snowflakes all together can make an avalanche. Avalanche is really, really powerful. So the idea is that over time, with these tiny little life changes, you know, you can really, really build something amazing and awesome, and you know, and just a force to be reckoned with. So the reason that I put the why should you trust me bit in there is to really ram home that I'm not special. I'm not, you know, I'm just telling it like it is. And I think the difference between my book and I mean, I've read every self-help book, every business book, every book on entrepreneurship. Like, that's you know, that's something that I've studied, but also I just frequent. And one of the things that really bugs me about it is about a lot of those books is that there's no real actionable thing to do. A lot of the time, it's like it can be sort of airy-fairy sometimes, or there can be the complete polar opposite where it's like, right, if you do this, this means that this will happen. And without naming any names, I mean, you mentioned Tony Robbins, like for instance, you know, I said without naming any names, and then I immediately mentioned the name. But say for Tony Robbins, for instance, I really rate Tony Robbins for a bunch of reasons, but I see the sort of bro marketing situation that's going on there, where, you know, his investments didn't make his millions. In my opinion, his books made his millions, and he was selling a concept. So I don't know how well that's going to hit home with any of your listeners, but for me, I sort of see it as a business strategy. And
absolutely.
do you know what I mean? And there's a lot of these people out there. So mine is nothing like that. It's very to the point. It's very sincere. And it's extremely simple. The idea is that all of the things are so simple that there's no excuse not to do them. Do you know what I mean?
Yep. Oh, absolutely. And it's interesting that you say that, because my third book, The Magic Pill, is about that. It started out because I wanted to dispel all these 7-figure, do this and you can make 7-figure books. But I'm like, you know what? Kudos to them. They created the system.
Yeah, 100%.
The people bought the books, the people bought the CDs, DVDs, they bought the system, they bought the coaching, and they didn't follow up with it. But that's not Tony
exactly
Robbins'
that.
fault. That's not
No.
Kiyosaki's fault. That's not anybody else's fault. So,
Mhm.
so this is do shit and you get shit done,
Yeah,
right?
it's a very
No
simple,
more
very,
excuses. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly that.
So 3 tips for people on how to get shit done. I
Oh,
mean,
interesting.
yeah,
Okay, on the spot. So, I mean, first
on the
things
spot.
that
Yep.
first, first things that first. I think that as soon as I have a thing that I call autopilot. I think everyone has it, where I'm not mindful and I'm not paying attention to what's going on, and I realised the issue afterwards. So, for instance, I had a drug problem a long time ago, and I didn't. It would always be after the event. It wouldn't be the process up to the event. It'd be the event afterwards, and I'd go, "Oh man, I've done that again. That's terrible. This is a bad thing." So one tip that is as strong as 3 tips, I think, if someone could take, is to absolutely make sure that you're aware of what you're doing and being in control. And for me, honestly, that can be as simple like I mean, my phone comes most places with me, as I imagine most people do these
Mhm.
days. And I just have alarms going off left, right, and center. I have alarms on my phone that will be like, "Stop being a dick," and I'll look at it and go, "Oh yeah, I must do that," you know. So thing number one, I think, would be absolutely just really work out ways that you can be in control of your life as opposed to
Okay.
it being in control of you. Thing number two, I would say, and something that I think is really important, and weirdly enough with what we were just talking about, is actually choosing to be a creator as opposed to a consumer.
Okay.
And the idea of being able to, instead of sitting on Instagram mindlessly flicking through your feed, is to be the person going on Instagram, posting a load of stuff, and then getting the hell out of the way. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And I'm
And the
writing these
third,
down. That's why I'm looking down. I'm like, I want to
oh
make sure I
no,
get
no,
this right.
no worries at all. Well, I thought you
Yeah.
might be checking your Instagram feed. You know,
Oh, I
I'm
am.
joking.
I am. I'm bored.
And
Multitasking.
well, this is this is the one. It's got to be done. And then the last one, I think, if I had to pick one thing that would benefit with that, I think it goes back to the old classic of you are what you eat, you are who you hang around with,
Mm-hmm.
you're the situations you put yourself into. So one of the things I'm ruthless with, and I'm absolutely ruthless with it, you won't catch me doing anything else. If there's something negative, or there's a person where they're toxic, or there's a situation I'm in that's toxic, I will get out of that as quick as
Okay.
possible. I'll be ruthless about it. If I people moaning, road rage behind the wheel, something as small as that, I'm out. I am just out. And then, because those things are the little snowflake that turns into the scary avalanche. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
It just doesn't do anything. It's waste of time. It's pointless in my mind. And I've been there. I've done it. I've completely, wasted a lot of time on those things. But I just think it's very easy to be out of control. So I suppose number 3 goes with number 1. It's working out ways to be mindful.
Okay.
There's a bunch of little hacks I've put in the book that really helps me
Cool.
with that.
Okay.
So yeah, what about your 3? Can I put you back on the spot? Is that
Oh,
fast?
that's not how it's supposed to work.
No, it's horrible, isn't it? Man, never interview English people. This is. I'm
Damn
joking.
it.
You're fine.
No, it's
Give
funny
me
because,
one. Just one will
okay.
do. One will do.
Well, I've talked a lot about it is, well, taking that first step, but being focused. Like you just said, finding ways to be in the moment, be present, be aware of what you're doing. A couple podcasts ago, I talked about ways, triggers or tools to get you out of the rabbit hole. And, and I think you talk a lot about that. It's like you can go way down in there, but what helps you pull your way out? And you said you have apps or reminders on your phone that says stop being a dick or be
Yeah,
mindful. And
yeah.
that's great, because everyone has little tips and tricks, but do we? I have
Yep.
my little to-do list, and then I call it my 1, 2, 3. So I have a post-it note on top of my to-do list, and those are the 3 things I have to get done. So like this morning I got up and was like, okay, before I do this interview, what can I get done? What do I need to get done? And that really saved my time. A couple weeks ago, when I started actually doing some research on my podcast about where I upgraded, and it was on my to-do list, but doing the research part was not on my to-do list. Just
Right,
upgrade
right, right.
my,
I understand.
yeah, upgrade so I can see the statistics. And then I was like, I got all geeked out and I started going down the rabbit hole. And then I looked down and there was my 1, 2, 3 list. And I'm like, pull yourself out of it, Ballard.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so the biggest thing is for me is just really finding those ways, those triggers, those tools that help you stay focused, because it's so easy right now. Like early on in quarantine, you probably felt the same way. It's like, what day is it? What, I don't even know where I is. I was talking to my sister yesterday, and we were talking about something, and we were like, oh my gosh, that was like mid-July. What happened to August?
Yeah.
But at least we're, now knowing what day it is. But yeah, it's just this year's been weird.
Sorry, just to roll back slightly,
Yeah.
your pronunciation of quarantine was like on point. I'm going to steal that if that's okay. You said quarantine. You made it sound like a nice champagne or something like that. Yeah. Love that. Absolutely love that.
Well, you have to make the best of it, and luckily we live close to the beach, so that has been our saving grace. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, so 3 tips. Mine was tools and triggers to stay focused, but yours are being mindful, being in control of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Choose to be a creator, not a consumer. And like what you said, being mindful, but you are what you eat. So if you, and that's environment, if you're around negative people, you're gonna catch on, because you hear yourself, you find yourself matching those behaviors. So
the brain soaks it up, right? It's like wherever you are, whether you like it or not, there's something going in there, So you want to put as much good stuff in there as exactly that is.
I pronounced quarantine, and then I said marinating.
You did, which I also like as well. I don't know if I could get a marinating. I don't know if I could do that.
That's straight up Indiana.
That's really
right
nice
there.
though. I like that. Indiana's cool. I like that.
Well, okay. All right. So in closing, how can people connect with you and get your book?
Oh, for sure. I really appreciate the props there. So you can go to leebridges.co.uk. You can come to either of my Instagram accounts. So one is @_Lee_Bridges. The other one is drum_hacker, because I play drums as well.
Okay.
You can also, what else could you do? Oh yeah, you could, go to my website, and then you can see the book from there. There's a bunch, there's a reader on the top with the first like 3 or 4, I think maybe 2 or 3 chapters, which you can just browse through, see if it's your thing. Exactly that. Yeah. And if it works for you, that's cool. And if it doesn't, then that's cool as well. But yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
You're a legend, Sandi. I really appreciate your time.
Well, all right. And then to take one of your quotes, you can never fail if you never try, right?
You can never fail if you never quit, is what I normally say.
Look at my scribbles there. You can never fail if you never quit. Maybe if I'm going to write this shit down, I should write it clearer, right? You can never fail if you never quit, because failures all are just learning opportunities. So remember that, listeners. You can never fail if you never quit, and there's just no more excuses. You got to start doing shit so we can get shit done, right?
Go Nose.
That's right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This has been really cool, and I appreciate you reaching out and connecting with me, and hopefully listeners will listen to you. If they're not going to listen to anybody, listen to you, right?
Right back at you. Thank you so much for having me. Really, really appreciate it. You're a legend.
All right. Well, cheers.
Hanasek.
That's it. Yeah.
I know. I can do LA. That works.
LA.
Yeah.
There we go.
I think that's I can't do the thing with. I can't do blood. I can't
maybe we shouldn't do that. In Indiana, we did one of my friends would do West Side or East Side.
Okay.
East Side, yeah. So
this has gone weird, hasn't it?
Now we're going to get we're going to get in trouble. We're going to get hate letters.
Oh no, what have I done? Oh, hate letters are good. Hate letters are good sometimes.
Yes. My friend that's an attorney years ago said, all publicity is good publicity. Mm-hmm. So on that note, thank you, Lee. Cheers.